Okay, all right. Yes, I'd like to call this virtual called meeting of the Johnson City Historic Zoning Commission to order. At this point in time, we do have a quorum, and we will proceed with the approval of the agenda. First thing on order, we have two items on here actually. So anybody have any questions or comments, or I can hear a motion to approve the agenda?
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
I second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Can we just do that by voice vote?
Yep.
That'd be fine. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. The first item on the agenda is the summary or the approval of the minutes of our August 25th regularly scheduled meeting.
No, is that on there?
Yeah, it was, Matt.
Have
It
y'all?
is.
I was gonna approve that. Let's take that off the agenda.
Okay,
Let's do that whenever we got everybody
yeah,
at next month's meeting.
all right. Okay, all right, then we'll move on down, and first item on the agenda.
Let's have a motion to move that from the agenda real quick in a second and a vote.
All right, okay, good.
I'll motion to remove the minutes from the last meeting from this agenda.
I second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to remove the minutes of the August 25th meeting and defer those to our next regular meeting. All those in favor say aye.
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 Nay, anybody opposed? So ordered. Okay. Next item on the agenda is a C of A application 2020-308 master sign plan for Go Burrito.
Yeah, and I'll just say real quickly that we're able to have this meeting virtually with the governor's executive order. And as Hal, as you said, we do have a quorum, and that this is a special called meeting. We gave 72 hours notice to the commissioners and the media. And then the media was notified about both of these items for public hearing purposes. So these are both timely items that we've been working on the Go Burrito for over a couple months now, and then the Ash Street mural is one that needs to come before us, as they're on a timeline with that project as well. So I'll go ahead and get in with the Go Burrito master sign plan. This has been to the design review committee twice. It's been before the full commission twice. The concept has been tweaked. The concept is the same as last month, our last meeting, but just some of the design features have been tweaked a little bit. Mainly the location of the sign, where it's located on the wall, the projecting sign was raised up, and the top of it is now level with the top of the second floor windows, and then some of the spacing and the location of the secondary sign was adjusted as well. It also has the same feature with the push-through acrylic to mimic a neon type sign, so it'll light up at night. The projecting sign is 16.6 square feet. So it's under the cap of 32 square feet. And the neon you see on the left here is an example just down the road in Irwin of a metal sign that's been painted that then has neon on top of it. And then the push-through acrylic will have a similar type of look. It'll be metal in the background, it'll be painted, and it'll have the push-through acrylic in a tubular type shape that will mimic neon. And then on the secondary wall sign, it will be painted directly on the brick. It will be located just above the garage door opening, but above the header course there, and centered between the over the opening. Again, it's 13.2 square feet. This is under their max, which we lowered the maximum for a secondary sign from 0.75 square feet per linear feet to 0.5 square feet. so it meets the 0.5. As you go through the guidelines, you know, you've got the master sign plan, the projecting sign, the secondary wall sign. It's good with all these requirements. We've updated some of our materials and some other guidelines recently. It's still good with all of those requirements, as well as with the typeface and the lighting. The written description, and this is kind of what, if you were to make a motion to approve, this kind of summarizes what the sign components would be. It's a double face sign. It is 1 foot 8 inches wide by 10 feet tall, and then it's 12 feet in width. And so that cabinet is going to be 12 feet wide, and then the outer coating is that Duranodic bronze, which is similar to the other trim work that's on that building. And then you have the push-through acrylic coming out of the metal faces. Those faces will be painted, the dark green background and the off-white lettering. And so that's that. And then the other sign will be painted directly on the brick. The mounting hardware is 4-inch squared steel tubes, and it'll be painted that same Duranodic bronze. And so that's kind of a technical description of the sign. This is, you know, my comments on all of the design guideline requirements, and everything is good. Staff is in favor of this and recommends approval. We have Denise here from the sign company representing the applicant. Are there any questions for staff?
I have no questions for staff.
I don't either.
Okay, we can move to public hearing.
Yeah, I would open the public, declare the public hearing open on this sign. If anybody wants to comment, raise your hand, flag your hand, something.
Any questions for Denise with Snyder Signs? Okay, no
He
questions.
exhausted us on questions.
We
I think
we
we
could have
exhausted.
just done this on the first go round. That would have been
Right.
Right.
Okay, we do not have any phone calls or emails. Matt?
yeah, let's put that up there.
There
If
we go.
anybody has a question, comment, concern, issue, compliment, please call the number and or email me with your said statements. Seeing none on my end. Wendy, are we good there?
I've done.
Okay.
All right, seeing no other comments or people wishing to speak, I'm going to close the public hearing. Do any commissioners have any other comments or questions they would like to ask? If not, I will entertain a motion.
All motion to approve is submitted.
Okay,
I'll second.
all right, we have a motion and a second to approve as submitted. Ms. Lawrence, would you call the roll, please?
Nicole, are
Hello?
you muted?
Sorry. Commissioner Biasca,
Yes,
Commissioner Forsyth,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Hunter,
Yes,
Commissioner McCusker.
yes.
Motion approved as presented.
Great. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Denise,
Good.
I'll follow up with you tomorrow.
All right. Thank you all so
Okay.
much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you
Thank
for all your
you.
work, Denise.
Yeah, thank you.
you.
Yes.
Appreciate
Thank
y'all's
you.
patience.
Thank you.
take care.
Okay. All right. The next thing on the agenda is, I'm sorry, I've lost a copy of my agenda here.
It's COA 2023-16, 400 Ash Street.
2023, yeah, okay, 2020, 316. This is for a mural. on a building at 400 Ash Street. And Matt, I'll let you go with the presentation on this.
Yes, thank you. So this 400 Ash Street is Summers Hardware building. It's a very large property. This would be down at the very far southwestern edge on a blank wall that faces almost directly across from the Ash Street Courthouse, which all the commissioners are familiar with. And so this site was selected after a process for a women's suffrage mural, which has had a lot of momentum and community support behind it for a good while now. And so it's on the very edge of the historic district. And so as far as their approval process, they were brought this before the Public Art Committee and had gotten approval months ago. And there was a little bit of oversight that this needed historic approval. And so we were able to add it to the agenda tonight since we were having a special called meeting so that we could go through the proper steps and get this approved since it is in the historic district. The wall is just a flat blank wall. And you can see the white area there is where the mural will go, but there's no architectural detailing. And it's from the 60s or 70s, the wall, the brick is, so no issues there from a concern with the mortar or the brick not holding up as we would with, pre-1940s or pre-1930s brick and mortar. So no issues there. For the design standards are fine. It's really a blank canvas again. So these are easy from our perspective, where we're just looking at protecting historic materials and not covering up or interfering with architectural character and architectural significance. And so it works in that regard. This is the design. This is what they're working on, and you can see kind of the dimensions and how it lays out on that wall. From looking at from different perspectives, you can see the neighboring historic building that how this will complement that. And then if you look kind of a broader view down Ash Street, you've really got a lot of historic elements that will be tied together through this mural. And so there is a use agreement in place. And so they've done their due diligence with, having a maintenance plan, getting approval from the property owners, getting approval from the Johnson City Public Art Commission back in March. So this checks all the boxes, and staff, presents it to you for approval.
Okay. Thank you, Matt. And I think
Any questions for staff?
So they are going to use those two rectangular things on the side of the main one, right? Obviously by the.
Yeah, and if there's, I would, with the folks from the Women's Suffrage Coalition taking time to join us, we can hear from them in the public hearing, but they can tell us kind of a little background on the design.
Okay.
Any other questions for staff, just on the specifics here?
We know what kind of paint they're using?
Yeah, so it actually is going on a fabric. Did I not get that in this?
thought you did.
It's in your, oh wait, it's on the front page. Acrylic on polytab fabric. And so that'll be applied. The paint will be applied to that fabric. The fabric is on the wall. And so rather than painting directly on the wall, it goes onto the fabric. And so that adheres to the brick, and they can probably speak to that better, but it would be from a, the preservation of the structure perspective, it would be similar to paint. To remove it, it would be the same process.
Okay, so the product that we see being applied to the wall in the photo from yesterday is actually this protective layer? Because it's not a fabric. It appears, I mean, if I were walking down the street, it looks like they're just painting the wall white.
Yes, that's correct. And I will let the applicant answer the.
Yeah, okay, that sounds good.
It's my understanding that,
Okay, Ms. Good.
Linda, we're going to
excuse
open up public hearing and then you can jump in.
We're going to declare a public hearing on this, and anybody that would, if you want to speak, please give us your name and address before you start. Thank you.
All right, you can go ahead, Linda.
thank you, Matt. I'm Linda Good, one of the co-leaders of the Suffrage Coalition behind this effort. We have our artist on the phone with us. If I state anything incorrectly, I'm going to ask that she correct me. It's my understanding that the white that you see on the right-hand side here is actually the sealer that the fabric will go on, and that the paint has been applied to the fabric with 2 or 3 exceptions. One exception is over on the left, where you see the passing of the torch of voting rights from the originators of the suffrage movement on to other groups that later got voting rights legislation passed. And then on the right side, where you see the torch being passed to people of today to further voting rights activities and legislation. And missing in this image is a border which will include names of the funders of this, the donations that we received to make this happen. This was not paid for by the city. This was paid for by donations from the community and from community organizations. So the actual dimensions there will be exceeded very, very slightly to 31 feet across and 13.5 feet high to accommodate the border. And the only place that paint will go directly on the wall is in between the 2 places where the fabric panels are going. And I believe that is the same type of paint as you mentioned, Matt, earlier, to be acrylic. If that is incorrect, I'd like Ellen to correct me there about the type of paint that goes in between as the passing of the torch.
Can I get the caller to state their name? Can I get the caller to state their name and address for the record, please?
Yes.
This is Ellen Elms. My address is 7902 P Patch Road, Jewel Ridge, Virginia. And I just want to clarify 2 things. The white that you see on the wall is a primer sealer. And so it seals in any moisture that might come through the wall before the fabric is applied. And the fabric is a Pellon, P-E-L-L-O-N fabric that is synthetic, and the mural will utilize a total of 16 pieces of fabric that will be put edge to edge together on the wall, applied with a gel. And the fabric is already painted. The design is on these individual pieces of fabric. And so the process is to install almost like wallpaper with this permanent gel between the fabric and the wall. And it gets squeegeed onto the wall. And then, as I said, each edge goes together. And when it dries, the gel shrinks a bit and pulls the fabric into the wall. So it actually looks like the painting is on the wall itself, because it shows a bit of the edges of the brick and the shaping of the mortar and the brick. And Linda's correct that what we're calling bridge imagery, where the torch is being passed in between 2 different panel blocks, is also going to be painted with golden acrylic paint and sealed. All of it will be sealed with 2 final sealers and also a ultraviolet protectant.
Is this
You know-
vandalism proof?
Well, it is in a couple of ways. I don't know if we could say proof, but the final sealer is this UV ray protectant, and it is removable with mineral spirits. And so if something should be painted on top of that, that can be removed, and with it, it would most likely take the paint. And also we have designed it so it's the lowest bottom edge of the middle section is 7 feet above the ground, and the other 2 side pieces are even higher.
So unless you play center for a basketball team, you'll have trouble doing anything to it.
Right.
What is the primer that is on there you mentioned is, sealing the moisture? Is it, do you know that product?
Yes, it's Pep Right Pro Block. It comes from Sherwin-Williams.
No, we're in a public hearing. Matt, can you check and see if that meets the requirement for allowable materials?
I'm checking.
Thank you.
It does say you can use it on masonry.
Right,
Yes,
but is it
it's-
designed to be, because part of the requirement is that the mural, although we want to think that they last forever, they do not. And at some point it does have to be maintained, replaced, or just simply be removed. So
Yeah, so this would be,
masonry paint is designed to absorb into the masonry and never be able to be removed.
yeah, so I think any of the paints that we're going to be, faced with are going to be, we want it to treat the system of the brick and mortar well and allow it to breathe, and function with moisture as it's designed to do.
Yeah.
And has for centuries. As far as the removal, I mean, we have we're in a kind of a tough spot being able to remove paint. Well, it is possible. It's just, it would require some sandblasting or whatever else. So that's my understanding, is that this would be able to be removed through the same means as any other type of directly painted material.
Yeah. Could you just give us I know there's a short list of prep media that we've approved for murals in this district. Could you just read that to me real quick?
On from the guidelines?
Yes, please. Here we go. Yeah, silica dye. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, silica dye. Yeah, there's been some pushback on that. And I wish Cole was here. Maybe some of the other folks can speak to that. But I think that was one of the issues possibly with that, is that it would be really difficult to, if not impossible, to remove.
Okay.
But it breathes.
Right.
And so
we've
got some, so there is some, there's some challenges with this. It's really kind of a decision that, the commission has to face. And I think part of it is looking at the wall and the structure. So if there was a big open blank space on a wall with, a building that had a lot of character, and B, a brick and mortar that predated some of this, our current more modern concrete mixtures and was more of a sand and lime base, I think you have a much more difficult decision to make in that kind of situation versus the back of a warehouse that's, got modern cement in the mortar. I mean, honestly, this building is even, well, maybe it's the one beside it, has been identified as in a long range plan for West Walnut to be removed so you can open up the view from Founders to Ash Street Courthouse. So I'm not sure if that had, that's a dream that was kind of put forth, but doesn't really have any real action behind it. But so that build, again, I think that speaks to the fact that there's not a ton of historic value seen in this building.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I think that in part that I think there would be the owner signed an agreement with the city, and I hope they understand what they're getting into in this case, because it seems to be different from what the city would normally allow in terms of materials.
I think part of
May,
that
would be a
may
real
I
easy
say
problem.
one thing?
Sure.
Excuse me. I just want to say that this primer sealer is recommended and utilized by the Mural Arts Program in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. They use it a lot for their murals, and so it's used for the right purposes, in other words, and it is a substance that is made for masonry.
There you go. Yeah, that's the other part of this. I feel confident that the group that's behind this and the artist that's been chosen and the Public Art Committee and their process, that those folks are all really focused on getting murals into the city and doing them the right way. And so they're the ones who've been supportive of this effort and involved in the discussions and the decisions that have been made to this point. Ideally, this would have had a little more input earlier on in the process from historic, but I do think, just showing some discretion with the location. If this was a prominent building and something that maybe we had more historical concern with, then this conversation might be headed in a different direction. But given it, it is what it is, and we've got people with know-how behind it. So,
can you describe the timeline as far as completion or application completion?
May I speak to that?
Yes, ma'am.
We have plans for presenting the mural to the community, to the city. Actually, the artist will present it to Jenny Brock, who will accept it for the city and the community on October 10th. The reason we have chosen October 10th is because that is the weekend after the 104th anniversary of a downtown parade that was in support of the suffrage movement in 1916. And so we have waited until all of the excitement about the 19th Amendment passage and so forth, which is in August. We've waited so that we can actually celebrate that anniversary of the local women who are depicted at the bottom of the mural itself with the Mountain Home Drum and Fife Band and in their parade on October 7th, 1916. So we do have that time frame. And Ellen, her husband Don, and the Public Works Department will be working from now until that date to install the mural. Does that answer your question?
Yes, ma'am, it does.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I'd just like to say I've been kind of looking forward to this. I was a little surprised when it popped up yesterday, but I'm glad we can move forward quickly and get this out there.
Right.
on this. Excuse me. Anybody else have any, is there anyone else who would like to speak for or against this mural project? Any other comments, Matt?
No, I'm good on my end. You can close the
Joy,
public hearing.
would you want to say anything?
I guess really, kind of where I'm at is,
Did we close public hearing?
No,
yeah, I mean, I suppose it, yeah.
No,
yeah, I don't have any
actually, that's
questions.
Joy, if she won, not Jay. Joy.
Yeah, Joy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's all right. I just would say that, we apologize for any oversight of getting this to you all. It's been a very excited project for many, many months, and really appreciate the partnership that we have with Johnson City and Johnson City Public Art, and now with you all. And I think it's a great gift that we will be giving to the community. So I appreciate you all taking quick action and helping us get in compliance as necessary. Thank you.
Thanks, Joy.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, seeing nobody else, no phone calls or emails, Matt or Wendy? Okay, if
good on my
that's the
end.
case, I will close public hearing. And commissioners, any other comments, questions, discussion?
Well, I think this is clearly an ideal location for a mural. It's almost, the wall is built for this purpose, and it's, proximity to the courthouse and visibility from Walnut Street as that develops. I think that just makes it more strong. I mean, conceptually, I have no issue with this. And although we don't judge on subject matter, I'm really glad to see this mural happen. So, that just, again, speaks to the quality of the design and the project. But, I have a little bit of concern, of course, giving such short notice that, to even consider the project in the first place, but then also that, given that time frame, that the guidelines weren't considered, along with the process not really being considered. And so I'm a little disappointed in that, but I don't think it necessarily changes anything functionally. So that's just kind of where I'm at, a little bit frustrated, but at the same time, very happy to see this.
Yeah, well, the whole process, I mean, this, I realize this building, it's, most people don't think of that building being in a historic district at all.
Right.
Right.
I think that's part of the issue
Right.
on it.
But
So,
that does say, that it is to the property owners and the project managers' responsibility to check beforehand.
well,
Well,
that's
no,
true.
my understanding is that there was some information shared with the applicant that they needed to check into that. So
Yeah.
that's a fair point, Jay.
Okay. Any other comments or questions, staff or from commissioners?
I don't.
No.
All right. Liz, do you have anything?
No.
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Yes, that's what I was going to ask for, a motion to approve or whatever.
I'll second it.
All right. Jay, you made a motion to approve, and Wes. So we have a motion and a second. Ms. Lawrence, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Biasca,
Yes.
Commissioner Forsyth,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Hunter,
Yes.
Commissioner McCusker.
Yes.
Motion approved as presented.
Great. Thank you, guys. Linda, I'll follow up with you tomorrow.
Okay.
Or Joy, either one.
Thank you. Thank you, Matt.
All right,
Linda's
thank you.
good. Linda's
Thank you.
all
I
right.
appreciate it.
This meeting is
Thank you, Matt.
adjourned.
Thanks,
Thank you
Al.
all.
Appreciate you guys making time on short notice and getting this all done. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, Matt.
everybody.
Thank you.